Hello everyone, it's Jin'taan here and welcome to another fleet video. Today I'm going to be going over a fight that I had in Providence with Provibloc whilst running a public fleet under Spectre Fleet. Now initially as I was roaming around Providence, what I'd hoped to do was simply to provoke a home defense fleet, such as Harbingers or Munins that you typically see trying to drive out other Spectre fleets from the area when they roam in. But after 10 minutes of waiting around in 9UI, the Providence staging system, I heard from a friend in Wrecking Crew that they were attempting to tackle some Rorquals in just the system next door. And because Rorquals being tackled generally does mean that you're going to get a fight, I decided to assist Wrecking Crew here and moved onto grid and started to shoot the Rorquals, as you can see. But before we get to the fight, let's take a look at the fleet compositions that the two sides of this battle had brought. First, let's take a look at the fleet composition that I brought to the field, which consisted of 35 Brutixes, 5 Scimitars, 5 Scythes, 3 boosting drakes, an FC Loki, a Hugin, and sabres, interceptors, and a couple of E-War frigates that decided to tag along and couldn't fly anything else. Working alongside me in this battle was the Wrecking Crew fleet, which consisted of 15 Lokis, 3 Scimitars, a Rapier, sabres and interceptors, as well as 2 Hells, which had originally been used to push the Rorquals into panic, but were now off-grid. And going up against those two fleets were the Providence Home Defense Fleet, which consisted of 26 Machariels, 5-ish Guardians, and 3 Facts which were on standby. Now the first thing that should stand out to you is the fact that Providence is heavily outnumbered here, only bringing around 30 mainline ships to fight around 65 to 70 of the other side. But if you've been watching this channel for a long time, there should be a few things which also stand out to you here, which is the fact that Providence has brought no webs or boosts to the field, leaving them bare of force multipliers which could increase their advantage in ship type over the opponents that they're facing. And having webs is something that's incredibly important when you're going up against relatively hard to hit ships like Lokis. As well as the shield extenders and rigs that are used on the fit generally do increase its signature somewhat, it's definitely not enough to make them easily trackable by battleship weapons in the same way a battlecruiser might be. In fact, as you can see from this graph, even at a 45-degree angle, anything under 10 kilometers is not going to be doing a reasonable amount of damage to the target, only doing about 0 to 40% of its on-paper damage in that window. However, as you can see, just landing a single Federation Navy web can be enough to render that problem moot, and only allow the Lokis to mitigate 10 to 20% of the on-paper damage that they should be doing. In addition to the lack of webs in order to augment the DPS that the Machariel fleet was able to put out, Providence also lacked competent boosts that would multiply the defences of the Machariels. In fact, on the Machariel, armour boosts are incredibly powerful, increasing the armour EHP of the ship by nearly a third, from 161,000 EHP to 214,000 EHP. And that lack of EHP is something that we'll see become significant in the fight, given that the ships that I'm using are Brutixes and therefore have an incredibly high DPS but relatively low EHP, and that makes time to kill something that's incredibly important to the doctrine going forwards, because I need to ideally be able to get my time to kill so low that logistics can't actually apply their reps to the ships being targeted, allowing me to effectively trade ship for a decent amount of time before I lose critical mass and have to get off the field, because once the battle starts to turn in my opponent's favour, I'm probably going to get slaughtered. Now here on your ship is just the basic maths behind time to kill, which is just the EHP of a ship divided by the effective DPS of the ship, then divided by how many ships you have. So as you can see, versus a unboosted Machariel we can kill it in about 8 ticks, and versus a boosted Machariel we can only kill it in about 11 ticks. And that means that there is a 3-tick difference in which reps might be able to land on a target that had boosts versus a target that doesn't have boosts. And just to justify what I said earlier about us probably having to trade off against one another, you can see here the time to kill on the Brutixes is 6 ticks, and given that the minimum amount of time it will take for a Scimitar to lock and apply reps is 5 ticks, means that even with boosts, it's going to take near perfect broadcasting for Brutixes to actually survive if they get called primary by the opposing force. Alright, so with all that said, let's head over to battle comms. Start attempting to lock up Mutamba. Okay, switch to Mutamba now, switch to Mutamba now, switch to Mutamba now, switch to Mutamba now. Secondary will be this Machariel. The Machariel of Ares. Good job. Machariel of Ares is primary. After that we're going to go on Zarja. After that we're going to go on San Ki. Stay on errors. Good job, now on Zana.
Logi 2
Then we're going
cycles
to go on
prop.
Istag. Sabers get good bubbles here. Sabers get good bubbles here. After that, we're going to go on Count. After that, we're going to go on Tigi. Now, by this point in the fight, the Machariels still haven't switched on to me. So what I make the decision to do is, rather than moving out to around 30 kilometers, which is where I'd want to be, I keep the main DPS core of the Brutixes in near enough to 0 on the Machariels, in order to allow our logistics core to support things like Sabers and Hicks that were in the middle of the battlefield, in order to force the Providence fleet to stay on grid for longer.
No, it is broadcasted.
Almost broadcasting shield.
Alright. Stay on Count, stay on Count. He's going down. Alright, now on Tigi. After that, we're going to go on Ancient Carnid. After that, we're going to go on Yigvegan. Doing great here, guys. There's pretty much no positioning we need to do, so... Alright, now we're going to go on... this Macario, Rajok. After that, we're going to go on Faye. Alright, now they're focusing on us. Brilliant.
Jin'taan.
It's okay. We're going to fuck them up.
Against you, sorry.
That's okay. We're still killing them, so we're going to keep going. Faye is next. Faye is next. Good job. Now, at this point in the fight, Providence starts to escalate by bringing in a couple of faxes in order to mitigate any further Macario losses, although they've already started to dip below critical mass, and as I explained earlier, they aren't really that effective against the Lokis, which they seem to be insistent on shooting at this point in the fight, despite having been able to very cleanly cut through a pair of Brutixes just now. Got your ass? Okay.
Make sure we're catching Songchi.
Got your ass as primary. After that, we're going to go on Louise. Okay. After that, we'll go on Solace. Do we still have bubbles? We do not.
Bubbles just coming back in, had a warp out.
Okay, good job. After that, we'll go on Devesta Julie.
Fax is smart, but
Alright, now on the Devesta Julie. MWD's on one cycle. Then we'll go on Chuxile. Just one cycle, guys, just one cycle. Devesta is primary. Devesta, there we go. Okay, now on to Chuxter.
Jin'taan's doing really well, by the way.
After that, we're going to go on B-Raptor.
Logi 2 cycles prop mod.
Sorry, yeah, we'll go on B-Raptor now. We'll end this fight. We're going to end this fight here. Get bubbles up if you can. Get bubbles up if you can. He's going to drop after this one.
yep.
Get bubbles on him now. Hick, bubble up. Yeah, good job, good job, good job. After that, we're going on to Davide. Just get all the bubbles in. They're going to feed here. Okay, this is going to be brilliant. Davide is primary. After that, we're going to go on to Tereknikov. Okay, now on to Rek.
Yep.
After that, we're going to go on Lincoln. Good bubbles, guys. Good bubbles. Good bubbles. Good bubbles.
110.
He micro jump.
Okay. Flo May's primary. They finally held something. Okay, sorry. Change that. Stag's with primary. MWD's one cycle.
Switching off of Ravstar.
And then Ustag is primary.
They're noting the hick ball was about to go down.
No worries.
Spamming. Last cycle, hick ball.
After that, okay, now we will go on this Guardian. The Guardian of Hyron. Okay, never mind, he's in warp. Zuki.
He got popped instantly.
No, he
Flay's
didn't. He
still
warped.
on for it.
His pod.
Noise pointed.
Yeah, Flow May still on grid.
After that, we're going to go on this one.
Logi 2 cycle prop.
Wait, is that third? Oh, sorry, that's third. That's third. My bad.
That's
my
their
bad.
Logi, man.
Oops. Then on Severa. Sorry. Is there any Machariels? Are there any even CVA left on grid? There's one. Terrakov is
There
prime.
is one 20.
Yep, kill that guy.
Switch to the Rourke and the.
So with Providence leaving the field, the fight had effectively been won, and it was up to us to just kill off the remaining capitals that were locked on grid and heavily bubbled, although one of the Rorquals that we'd originally caught had managed to actually moonwalk out during the middle of the fight. Even with the 70-ish sub-capitals that we actually had on grid, we couldn't kill the capitals by ourselves due to the fact that they had very strong active reps, and as a result, Wrecking Crew brought in their 2 healths back to the grid in order to just finish them off safely. Now, as you can see here in the final battle report, the reason I'm not being particularly smug over this fight is the fact that we did, pretty heavily blob Provi here, with us fighting 76 to 48, giving us a nearly 2-to-1 advantage. But I thought that the fight was, at least on a composition level, kind of interesting, as it highlighted the importance of just adding 1 or 2 extra ships that can serve as force multipliers to a composition, as well as the crucial nature of trying to tailor your composition versus what you expect to fight. Plus, I mean, hey, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to put a video of me fragging a ton of Machariels on the channel. That's a nice thing for people to go and watch. Anyway, until next time everyone, fly smart.